Welcome to True Sound Radio. We're talking today with local house producer Expensive Taste. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, how did you develop an interest in DJing, and how did you get your start in the industry? Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I first fell in love with this back in 2010, 2011 when I was 14 years old. My buddy showed me Deadmau5, which has been a huge inspiration for me. I used to go home, watch Deadmau5 live on YouTube. I just thought it was amazing to see him on stage with his helmet on, everyone going nuts, the whole thing, right? So, and then when I discovered Skrillex shortly after that, it was pretty much game over. Changed my whole life completely. Yeah, I first got my intro into the industry in Kelowna. I was a part of a bass music duo called Two Buds. I also did some work with Blueprint. I was a resident DJ at Sapphire in the side room there, playing house music every Saturday. And then with Two Buds, we actually had the opportunity to go down and play a small back-to-back set at Lost Lands Festival on a sound camp stage for M&G, which was a crazy experience. But a couple years ago, I moved down from Kelowna to the coast and wanted to pursue house music. So here I am now.
That's amazing. That's quite the story. I'm wondering, what about your inspirations drew you to the music? What was it, like their personas or something about the music in particular? What do you think it was that really drew you in?
It was a bit of both. I mean, for Deadmau5, it was definitely like the brand that he had and the persona. The mouse head was amazing. The first song I ever heard actually that was electronic music was Ghost and Stuff. And I just thought the sounds were insane, like the vibe in general. Like I've never heard anything like that before. Then when I heard the remix of that song, More Ghosts and Stuff, that's what really drew me in. Just like the melodic content and the vibe and the beat and everything was like all new to me, and it just gave me chills every time I heard it. So I wanted to keep chasing that feeling with music. And Skrillex, like, obviously he changed so many people's lives when he released his music. But like my favorite songs from him were his house music songs, like Kill Everybody, Rock and Roll, Take You to the Mountain. I just thought those chords and those melodies and over a house beat was just insane, and it gave me chills every single time. So that's what really drew me in.
That's great. Your own persona, Expensive Taste, your About section on Facebook says Rebel Spirit, Expensive Taste. So what is the Expensive Taste brand, and how would you describe your DJ persona and your sound?
Yeah, so it's dark, sexy, a little bit mysterious, rebellious in the way that I'm not really conforming to any sort of normal. My sound is house music, but it splits genres every single time. I have new inspiration all the time. I'm not sticking to one particular sound, and I'm having some fun. So whatever that means.
Fun is always good, obviously. Speaking of your sound, I'm wondering, when you write a track, what's one plugin or a digital instrument that you're drawn to frequently in music? Even though you say that you have like a different sound all the time, you're developing it. Is there something that you're always drawn to when you start writing?
As far as like synthesizers go or virtual instruments go, I like to use Serum, Silent. I actually have a couple Moog, hardware synths that I use quite frequently for bass lines and stuff like that. But actually, one big secret, or maybe it's not a secret, is Rave Generator 2 free plugin. It's a crazy free plugin. If you produce house music, I would recommend that for sure. Things like that. But really, it's more processing plugins that I'm more drawn to, like the Fab Filter stuff I use all the time. Black Box Analog Design, anything from Sound Toys is amazing. So it's mostly the processing plugins I use consistently. My VSTs for actually making sounds, I kind of switch it up all the time. So
what's the most challenging thing about writing a track, or in terms of like if maybe there's not anything challenging. Like, what have you sort of struggled with that you've overcome in learning to
Oof.
create music? It's a tough question, I know.
Honestly, I don't know if I've overcome it yet, and it's definitely the hardest thing I think for most producers, is taking your tracks from 90% to 100%. I think getting that track to 90%, or the meat and potatoes of the track, I like to call it, is pretty easy, and a lot of people can get there, but really sets you apart is taking that extra 10%. Um, just the little ear candy that you hear on like professional quality music or stuff that you listen to that you might not think about, right? It's not just the bass line, the synths, or anything like that. It's all these weird little things in the background. The fills are really important. Um, all that stuff gets really hard once you get your track to 90%. You've listened to it 1,000 times over. Your ears have kind of gone dead to it, and you can't take it that extra 10. It's really hard. So what I've been doing is using a bunch of different reference tracks in all my files, just kind of seeing what the pros are garnishing their meat and potatoes with, if you will, to really get it to that extra 10%.
That
Bring
sounds
it
like
to 100.
yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. I feel like, yeah, of course, getting something to a point where you would have to, where you are ready to release it would be pretty tough. Um, and obviously analyzing the stars and who's really successful right now is a great way to do that. So I think that's a good tip. You recently took part in a virtual reality event. What was that experience like for you?
It was really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to experience it in VR myself because I didn't have the gear. But Maverick's Playlists, the fellow that put it on, he did an insane job. He programmed the craziest 3D stage, or virtual reality stage, sorry. It had like a VIP tower, a green room, like everything that a festival would have. The pyrotechnics were insane. All the effects were insane. He took me through a virtual walkthrough beforehand and showed me everything, and it was super cool, and it's definitely going to be a part of the future, I would say, 100%. But yeah, I didn't have the Oculus or the gear to view it in VR, but I was there watching it on Twitch, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those pop up recently, the Porter Robinson one as well. And it's really interesting, the sort of technology that's developing now for these sort of online shows. I think that says a lot about the future, and that's a very exciting thing, especially, for those DJs who don't have the money to travel yet or anything like that. I think it's a really good opportunity for them. Speaking of your music, you recently released a remix EP, and I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about that music, before I ask you some questions about your advocacy.
Yeah, so I mean, I put out a couple songs earlier this year, Platinum, Tongue and Groove. They're both solo releases. I wanted to do a remix EP, so I reached out to a couple homies, local homies, and some homies that are from across the world. So it turned out really well. I'm super happy with everyone's remixes and kind of the support it's been getting. Definitely going to be something I'm going to do in the future for sure. Um, but yeah, it's a great way. I think doing remixes on your original tracks that are solo released is a great way to create a better sense of community. It's also a great way to generate more content and more releases for yourself as well, and bring your homies up with you. So yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yes. So it was London and who was the other one that you did the remix?
Lyndon Braddock.
There we go.
And
And
then I have
Cashew,
another one
right?
coming up, Cashew, that's going to be released June 25th. So yeah, it's just a 3-track EP for this one.
Yeah, that's great. Short and sweet. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Do you have anything else coming up that you might be able to talk about? I know sometimes it's hard to say things when there's releases on the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, totally. Yeah, so I have I mentioned Tongue and Groove before, so that's
Yeah.
going to be a 4-track remix EP in September,
Cool.
all BC artists. I can't say necessarily who yet, but there's going to be one of the tracks in my mix for you guys, so you'll be able to listen to that. You can expect from me tons of collabs with local artists. I have a bunch of collabs with Lyndon coming out. I have 3 collabs with Trifecto in the works. You can expect a Seb C collab. Um, and I have a bunch of fun original tracks as well, and some higher profile collabs I can't really talk about yet either. So
That's cool. Well, that's great. That's great to hear that you're such an advocate for bringing your peers along with you for the ride. I think that's really cool. I think it's nice to see that in the scene. Sometimes there's a lot of competition, and I don't know necessarily how it is in the Vancouver scene, but it's nice to see somebody else.
it's
Um,
um it's
yeah,
crazy inspiring in the Vancouver scene, in the house music scene especially, to see the sense of community and how everyone just really supports each other and brings each other up and is so eager to be a part of each other's projects. Um, it's really inspiring to be a part of and to see. And I think it's the best way for young starting artists to kind of make a name for themselves, and bring each other up. It never hurts to bring each other up. You know, it's always important to shed love. So someone else's success does not hurt your own.
no, absolutely. I think that's a good lesson to learn for sure. Um, so actually, what are some of your goals in the next year? What's the 5-year plan? What do you want to do as an artist coming up now that COVID's sort of on the outs?
COVID is
Um,
sort of on the outs. Yes,
sort of.
things are starting to open up in Canada again. My goals would be, I want to release on some big labels. I want to release on Musical Freedom really badly. Spinnin' Records, Bite This, all the top house labels. I would like to just continue making music I love to make, and keep improving my craft and my productions. Um, my main goal probably would be to go on some sort of tour, whether that would be flying around North America, or just hopping in a motorhome with a couple homies and driving across Canada and seeing what happens. But yeah, that's my main goal for sure. I want to get on a tour. I want to play some shows. I want to travel the world. So
That sounds exciting. Big dreams. So I hope that they come
yes.
true for you soon.
Yeah,
Never hurts to dream big, I
it
think.
never hurts. No.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of dreaming big, who would you collaborate with if you could collaborate with any DJ or I guess any kind of artist? Who would be maybe your number one choice, number two choice?
So number one, number two, it's hard to say, but I would say if I could collaborate with anyone right now, it would be either Clank or Cheyenne Giles. Um, Both have a different sort of house sound. Cheyenne Giles has the high energy, fun, bouncy, big room kind of style. Clank has a super technical bass house groovy style. Both I love. I think either one I could learn a lot from the process. I just love Clank's diversity, the way he designs sounds and grooves that work so well together. And Cheyenne Giles just brings the energy. So either one of those guys would be super cool to work with.
Yeah, that would be really interesting, I think. Awesome. I'm just noticing you have these guitars behind you. Do you play?
Not enough. Yeah, no,
And
I,
there's
I
a
used to
piano as
play. I
well.
used to play a lot.
Yeah.
I still play from time to time. I try to incorporate it in my songs every
Mm.
once in a while. You might not know it's a guitar, but I put some cool effects on there to make it sound pretty cool and to cover up my awful playing. So um, yeah,
I'm sure that's not true.
you
They
might
seem like
expect an acoustic version of Platinum as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah, great. I look forward to that. I'm sure the fans do as well. Um, so what else is coming up for you? Are there any shows that you're planning to do? Any festivals? I mean, it's a bit early for that stuff, but is there anything outside of musical releases that might be on in the work?
I am gonna be playing a set for Atlas Virtual Festival this upcoming Friday, June 18th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Other than that, I'm pretty open. I'm not booked for anything yet. Hoping to get booked for a couple shows this fall or later this summer when things open up. So I'm just kind of taking it as it comes and seeing what happens.
Great. Well, we look forward to hearing you perform live and hopefully can be there in person to support you. Anything else you'd like to shout out or anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, like to shout out my beautiful girlfriend Nikhail. Puts up with me doing long hours in the studio, not really spending much time with her in my free time, but she understands why.
Mhm.
Um, like to shout out my good friends Lyndon, Sebc, Noah, Trifecto. Um, just being a part of a core group of producers that always wants to bring each other up is very important, and constant love and support from those guys. And shout out my mom and dad just for being beauties.
That's sweet. We really appreciate you speaking
Oh,
to us
actually,
today.
sorry,
One
I'd
more.
like to
Yeah.
shout out True Sound Events as well.
Oh, thanks.
For just keeping the scene
Yeah.
going and working so hard to make sure that, you know, artists like myself get a platform and a place to start, and opportunities. It's really important, I think, the work that you guys are doing. So shout you guys out.
Definitely. Ethan gets the badge of honor, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to sharing this mix with everybody, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Hopefully see you in person on the dance floor soon as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jillian.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny because we got an interview with Xpnsv right after this.
Yeah, he mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
By the way, I think it's fine because I can fix it, but your mic is totally just taking left, Ryan. It's just picking up
really?
the left, yeah, the entire time.
Oh, shit.
All good. I can fix it in post.
I can't hear that because it's on my phone. My phone is a better camera than my computer, so
I can only hear it because I have headphones on and I have an audio meter in front of me. So
weird.
Why don't you just put me on the right and then?
Well, yeah, I can. I'll adjust it in post.
Sure.
Are you able to do that? Is that okay?
I should be able to. Yeah, it should be fine.
Shit.
It worked. It was a good interview. I'll make it work. You did a great job.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks for coming out. And one quick question: when do you think you can have that mixed to me by?
I'm gonna have it by this evening.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a hectic week, but I'm almost done it now. So I'm gonna work on it today, and I'll have it done for this evening. So
cool, awesome.
Yeah,
cool. Look forward to hearing it. And yeah, so your episode, I'll probably try dropping it within the next roughly 10 days or so, because it takes usually me about 4 or 5 days to get an edit done, and then I have time for marketing and promo and stuff. So
of course.
I'll have everything I'll have an email. I'll email you the final, what it looks like, and the final audio before I send it out and stuff. And then
Word.
Come out sometime middle of this month. So
sounds good.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Of course.
Thanks for coming up. I'll talk to you later. I'll message you everything.
Yeah, message me.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
I'm going to head over to. I'll join season like 5 minutes. Take a 5-minute break, kind of thing,
that's cool.
and then we'll hop back on season like 5 or 8 minutes or so.
Sounds good.
This is cool.
Okay, bye.
Bye.